Hi everyone. I want to make a video on what I'm going to call keeping between the lines. When I was a little kid at prep school in England, very, very unhappy little kid, I was beaten and cursed and yelled at from the moment I got to the school in the morning till the moment I left at 5:30 in the afternoon. And that was because, most of the time anyway, I was very messy and covered in ink. The reason for that was I had the leakiest fountain pen that ever existed. One of those ones with a lever that you had to put in the ink bottle and pump full of ink. Coupled with this was the fact that I was and am very, very dyslexic and very messy by nature. I've overcome quite a lot of that. I'm pretty orderly and organized in some ways now, and in other ways not. But the one thing I could never do was to keep between the rules lines in my exercise book. Lines like this, which were printed over the page. However hard I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried, I just couldn't do it. My handwriting would just go all over the place. And I would be covered in ink, just covered in ink. And my clothes are covered in ink too. And there would be smudges. And it was really quite something to behold. I look back at it now, and it's a long time ago. It's 50 years ago since I was in that classroom being scolded and scorned. And I look back in jubilation at who I was and that I was unable to keep between the lines. All the other boys in class had the most impeccable, beautiful handwriting. I can remember their handwriting, and strangely, I remember them by their handwriting, each one of them, because I knew it. My handwriting was a tortured frenzy of energy and mess, and more than anything, it was creative, and it was creation in its own right. When I think back at that time in that horrible classroom with that horrible teacher, I think of it with wonder that it was a preparation zone for my life, but in a way that the school and the teacher and everyone else who was present had no idea would take place. By being incapable of keeping between the lines, I began to think for myself, and I most certainly didn't capitulate like all the other students, all the other kids. Instead, I realized there was something magical about breaking free between these ruled lines that ruled the lives of others. As I went on to do journalism and then book writing and other stuff, I realized the value in being unable to keep to the plan that others wanted me to keep to. I remember in my early 20s when I was trying to write a little bit of serious journalism, and I was totally incapable of doing it. I could see the facts, but the facts and the formulas of it all were so dull. A newspaper editor told me then, when I submitted a news story, that I had no place in a newsroom and I never would have. And I remember telling my aunt, Amina, my fabulous storytelling, eccentric aunt, that they shunned me in the newsroom of this newspaper. And she said to me, "Thank God for that. Then my son, my boy, my nephew, there is hope for you." And as I went on, I realized that just because I had failed in what some limited, small-time teacher had wanted of me, it meant that I could succeed on a far more ambitious and glorious canvas. And that was creating books and novels and fantastical adventures of my own. The only reason I succeeded in any of that, and have succeeded as a writer as best I can, and in other projects, all kinds of imaginary and fantastical endeavors, it's because, as a kid, I could never keep between the lines.